What's up? Welcome in. It is, I'm just calling them, it's just another Monday at this point. CHGO Bears Podcast.
A manic Monday?
Yeah. I don't know. Today's a confusing day. The Bears lost to the Packers, and I'm like not that upset about anything. Welcome in. We are sponsored by DraftKings. Of course, use that code CHGO when you sign up. Get up to $150.
What was that, Carl?
That's from my guy Mubs. He's, sup Carm, sup Mubs. My dude.
What was that? Like,
I don't know what this is.
Oh, you was rocking on?
Texas, go Horns. Hook 'em.
There's a thing going on between me and Woot where you got me on the capris. Now this is messed up.
Nah,
but see, it worked though. Look at what you're wearing. Look at what you're wearing. You got some nice, stylish, long socks.
I got pink socks on today. No, but I mean, do I got to work on this?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on.
It was almost a little bit of a ASL. I love you, which my daughter and I like to do to each other.
I was just a little confused. That's what I was asking.
No. I listen. You're making me better, so you can just
there we go.
Keep them coming here. Yeah, what a morning it has been. By the way,
it's nice to talk to you. We've been in the same room for 2.5 hours, and you haven't said 3 words.
You came in with your standard Monday scowl. You've been focused. You've been focused in your Hoge world, and then like towards the end of the morning, you kind of like got excited that you wanted to speak, and I was focused in at that point.
Welcome in, Adam Hoge, Corey Wootton, Mark Carman. People need to know that like Carm on Monday mornings is just like locked in.
He is.
Like, you come in here, he's the first person in here because you do Fox at, 6:30 or something?
See, here's what happens, okay? Just so you have a full look at the picture. I do Fox at 6:20 in the morning. So the alarm goes off at 5:30. Last night, my buddy Seth Marks, who's been in town, was on the show. I end up having like the Italian feast over at Topo Gigio, thanks to the people at Topo Gigio.
Wow.
Not that.
You just did it again, by the way. You went like this.
Yeah. And so,
what is going on?
Yeah. And so Topo, what's up? And so it was a big meal, a lot of carbs going down. 5:30 hits quick. And then I get out of there, and the adrenaline of being on TV. Then I get in here. There's nobody here. It's 6:45 in the morning. The tired wave hits, and then by the time you get here at 10, that's when I'm really got to, okay, dude, you got to really kick this in and figure out. Like I watched the first half of the Bears game, rewatching it by halftime. I mean, I'm dead asleep in the chair. I can't take it anymore. so by the time you get here at 10, now it's like, oh, it's totally go time.
And so you spent 17 minutes watching Deion Sanders' press conference.
And then you threw me into the Deion press conference. Did you see the Deion press conference?
Amazing.
I heard bits and pieces of it, yeah.
I mean, that is a wild press conference. That's not why we're here. This is the Bears show. But this dude just coming in, they're like, yeah, y'all better get in the portal.
Bring in my own players.
All college coaches do that. That's like, I heard someone posted about Ed Ogeron when he went to Ole Miss, and he said he would fight anyone if they thought the old guy like the same ways. Like, I mean, it's just college coaches, man. And he's right, by the way. Like, they all say it. It's just he, of course, had like a camera crew with him.
Didn't they say Deion got like the most 5-star recruits that Colorado's ever got?
I mean, he will.
Already? I think they got like 4 or 5-star recruits.
It's been there for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the Deion effect, the prime.
Right. Prime time.
Honestly, I think he's getting underpaid, too.
He's
not getting as much as Luke Fickell at Wisconsin.
But you realize that if you're a high school player, why wouldn't you go for Colorado for NIL deals?
Hell yeah.
You have Prime, arguably the flashiest coach that's going to get you paid. Why wouldn't you go there? You
know what Prime said about NIL though? He's like, he looked at all of them. He's like, listen, I'm not interested in NIL. I'm interested in NFL.
Oh yeah.
But you're going to tell me he's not.
They're still going to.
Yeah.
No, then at the end of it, he was sitting there talking about their social media. By the way, Prime or Flus, who would you rather have?
Flus.
Oh, you for the NFL?
He ain't ready.
That's too college. That's too college like.
Yeah, he's not ready.
Forget about whether or not he could coach or not. If Prime was the head football coach of the Chicago Bears, that'd be the most entertaining thing of all time.
Sure, but he's not all about him, 5-star recruits to the NFL.
I mean, I wish he could.
What would Prime have said to Equanimeous St. Brown yesterday, and after he didn't come back on the football that Justin Fields called out, and so did the Flus? What would Prime say? What would Prime say, Hoge?
He'd probably say the wide receiver needs to come back on the ball.
He'd probably say hit the portal.
Yeah, hit the portal, dude. Get out of here. Okay. All right, well, we got a lot to talk about. By the way, Greg Braggs, you left your water bottle here again. I think the last thing you said when you left here yesterday is, I'm not going to leave my water bottle. It's up there on that shelf back there. It's not on screen.
Of course, it's not water. It's brick juice. I believe.
Unless that's the same bottle from last week.
That might be the same bottle from last week, and I think he remembered his bottle yesterday, but he didn't pick up his bottle from the last week.
Wasn't that the same bottle?
Did he have milk in
I
there?
swear that's the same bottle.
2%?
Rise and shine.
Rise and
Go
shine.
to work.
Bears
Okay?
fans.
Brick by brick. I'm Braggs, okay?
The Green Bay Packers have more wins than the Chicago Bears.
I'm driving and I'm taking a video at the same time. It's real safe.
but I'm still
And I don't have my seatbelt on.
but I'm still a Bears
Because
fan.
nothing can affect me. I lay bricks.
Brick by brick, the Bears will get this back.
All right, I'm flipping. Braggs,
man.
I love you, man.
Yeah, I love you, bro.
I'm a Bears fan.
All right, let's get into some of this Bears talk. Carm has major problems with the quarterback.
No, it's not major. I just was surprised and a little perturbed that I got pushed off it by the chat yesterday, which is on me, pointing the thumb. It was a little bizarre after the game that both him and the head coach said that Equanimeous St. Brown should have come back to the football. That's rare in my mind that a quarterback would not just put it on himself, let alone a quarterback in his second year on a 3-10 football team. I thought that was a little bit off. Not a huge deal. Now, I don't think it's going to completely wreck the locker room. But then he also said, when I watched the press conference, he also said that David Montgomery didn't hit the hole exactly correct.
So this
I'm like, what's happening right now?
probably just frustration.
That's what I think.
That's the biggest thing.
That's what I think.
Guys get frustrated, and the same thing happens every week.
But what was also interesting,
the rest of his conference, I think, what your press conference is what Hoge was going to say here, and it's true. The rest of the press conference, I felt the most comfortable I've ever felt back there. Sure, statistically, this is one of my best games. I mean, he was, and absolutely, the wins are going to start coming. So maybe this is just him, that he's just kind of sort of an honest speaking dude. Like they asked him last week about the, Flus won't give an ounce on his injury. Yeah, I've got torn ligaments and I got this and I got that. Like he just speaks honestly, and that's just him. Which
is why I don't have a problem with it. Like it did not come off in any way as
put the blame on him, like it's his fault.
Like last week when Kyler Murray said we were schematically fucked in his press conference. Like that's okay. That's blunt.
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah. This was. I thought, guys, can we not punish we sit here and we go, all they do is say coach speak. They don't tell us anything. They never tell us the truth. And then when they're honest, we're gonna kill them for being honest. Like I don't like that. All he's saying is what happened on the play.
Yeah.
You could argue that maybe you should have thrown in an extra line, and maybe I should have not thrown that ball, or maybe I should have looked elsewhere, because I don't like the match. My problem with Fields on that particular play is I just don't like the matchup, Equanimeous versus Jair Alexander in that situation. Like, should we be surprised that Jair Alexander jumped that? No, I don't like the matchup, and I think someone else might have been open on the play. But he's absolutely right, and Flus is right too, that it was a terrible route, and he did not come back to the ball. Exactly. Once you make the mistake, if we're going to call it a mistake, of throwing it, you want your wide receivers to help you out, and he didn't help him out on that play.
Like bat it down, something, go for the ball, and he kind of gave up on it a little bit,
But he tried in the back end.
He tried to pull it out,
yeah.
But in that situation, I feel like that he ran, like Hoge said, he ran a bad route, and at that point, when you see the balls coming there, you see him jumping it, you got to go in there and try to hit it before it gets there. But he tried after the play. Yeah. But I think it's a combination. So Justin feels like people were like you that felt a certain way, and I think it's just his initial reaction, right? And I agree with Hoge. He should have said, and I could have thrown it better, or I could have thrown it to a different receiver. There was somebody else open, but I think people are making too much of this. But in this game,
by people you mean Mark Carman.
It's
been a topic today.
It's around. I've heard it in a bunch of places.
Yeah,
and
I think it's a little bit of frustration too, right? Because you're so close. And in this game, before those two picks, Justin Fields was lights out pretty much, right? He's 20 of 24, I think, at one point. 2 long bombs, like very comfortable back there. You said confident, what he said in the press conference. And then those 2 interceptions that kind of derailed everything. And one of it was on St. Brown a little bit. And the last one, was a tough one to Pettis. So, yeah, he played, almost 4 quarters of pretty dang good football, and especially passing the ball.
Who was the scariest player on the football field yesterday, besides Jack Sanborn?
Besides Jack Sanborn?
I just threw that in there. But seriously, when you line up?
I thought it was Sanborn. Go ahead. I really did.
We get into Sanborn in our next segment. But I'm just talking about, like, Woot, if you're game planning during the week, like, at this point, between the 2 sides in a Bears-Packers game, like, who's causing the most disruption in that game plan? Who are you most worried about?
Justin Fields.
The answer right now is Justin Fields.
Yeah.
It's even more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because Rodgers, we saw, can still pick you apart. If you're going to have a weird 3rd and 4 where you're 2 safeties back, everybody else is in man, and you're going to play off 7 yards, and they're going to get an easy slant. Yeah, he's still going to kill you on that. But he can't move like he used to. It's Fields. He's the most dangerous player on the field every week. Like, sometimes I think we overanalyze this a little bit too much. That's what he's become. He wasn't that earlier in the season.
Yep.
Now he is. It's that simple.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, like, as a former defensive lineman, going against somebody like Justin Fields, you're staying up at night thinking about, what he can do, the zone reads, his scrambling. Hey, if we're not rushing all together, we don't have everybody in the rush lanes, he'll pick us apart. And now he's getting more confidence as a passer as well. So it's just a different element. And I think when it's all said and done, I think Justin Fields can be a top 5 quarterback. I 100%. If you put the offensive line around him, you put the weapons, and we actually have a defense that can pass rush and stop the run, I think Justin Fields will be a top 5 quarterback, hands down. Like, he has all the tools and talent. I think in this game he flashed everything we needed to see him as a passer, but it's just about those 2 interceptions, that really skewed things, because he played a pretty dang good game up until that point.
But you know what? I still like that this might sound weird. I'm not glad he threw those 2 interceptions. I'm glad that, like, he had this overall game where when he says he felt comfortable, I agree. There was an early throw, one of his first throws in the game, where he just looked more comfortable in the pocket. And the throw he made to Equanimeous, it like went off to the right. It was kind of like I don't know if it was technically a corner or not, but it went off to the right side, downfield. It just, the way he threw it, the rhythm, it looked smooth. It looked comfortable. And he carried that throughout the game. And then you get to the end of the game, and there's now a couple plays that they can analyze and be like, yo, you got to learn that when you have 19 against their best corner, maybe look at somewhere else. Maybe you can't rely on him to come back to the ball. When you're in this, I don't give him a pass. In fact, I have more of a problem with the second interception.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I think some people are giving him a pass like, you're just throwing the ball up. The game's pretty much over. Except here's the thing. You're on the fringe of field goal range. The only chance of winning that game is to check the ball down, kick the field goal, do an onside kick. Like, the more experienced quarterbacks in the league are going to know that and not make that same mistake. It's not chuck the ball up and look for a prayer time, especially because the ball didn't even go in the end zone.
Right, that was triple coverage too. It just was a bad throw. Let me be clear. I don't have any doubt that Justin Fields is 1,000% headed in the right direction and may get all the way to where you just put him with top 5. I think that's on the table for him. That is absolutely the potential. That is his potential. I also think that it is important that he's playing in these games. So yesterday, to your point, Hoge, that it's great that he's out there and he's experiencing all this. And I also think, like, let's just underline that he has insane 56-yard historic 3-person to run for 50-yard touchdowns, the only person in the history of the NFL. I mean, let that sink in. The history of the NFL, it's pretty significant there. But he also is still progressing as to what he's going to be. This is more a question, I guess, for you to Hoge's point, though. Are most quarterbacks, not that you were playing QB on an NFL level, but are most quarterbacks processing that receiver's being covered by that guy in that moment? Do they do that fast, or is he more just like, that's my read, and he's not necessarily fully aware of who's guarding him in that moment.
So I think in situations it depends. Like sometimes they want to exploit certain matchups, like Hoge was saying. Like you maybe want to avoid that corner just because he's more of a shutdown guy. So I think it was a situation that everything was happening fast. We're kind of hurrying up, trying to get things going, and I think that was the first read on that particular play. And then, like I said, it was a bad route, bad throw, kind of combination of everything. So yeah, I think it's. The more he gets experience with things, the more he's going to realize, okay, like Hoge said, I'm going to check it down. I'm going to go the other way because this is a bad matchup right now for what we're trying to accomplish.
Right? Yeah, I mean, and in this particular case, that is the matchup you see pre-snap. I'm looking at it right now. It's Alexander playing pretty far off too on Brown, which means off coverage. That comeback's not going to work as well, right? You want to be up on that guy, put your foot in the ground, come back. Yeah. That's how you're going to create those separation. If he's going to play off there, he's got a better chance to break on, and that's what he did. He's playing with his eyes towards the quarterback too, so he's not even really reading the receiver on that. To me, that's why I guess I'm going to put like 60% of the blame on the wide receiver for it turning into an interception, but I still think the decision was wrong off the top.
And for the record, his route wasn't really the huge problem. It's just how he just couldn't stop himself. Like he wasn't. I don't know. He didn't veer off the path. He just I don't know how much the turf gets. He just didn't look like
there's no separation.
Yeah, he just it wasn't. Maybe that is.
What does that play? 3rd and 8.
It was 1st and 10.
Oh, 1st and 10.
It was right after the bullet he threw to Cole Kmet up the middle. Yeah. Like on the post.
And Kmet was wide open on that play too. He was open.
It's a check down though.
That's all we needed. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would have actually gone to Pettis to the right, who could have easily gotten out of bounds, picked up some yards. I'm still happy he's going through those moments though. Like getting back to the original point. Like my hope going into this game, more so than anything else, was that the silver lining of him dealing with the shoulder is they were going to have to let him play quarterback more and let him develop more as a passer. Exactly. And that happened in this game, both good and bad, mostly good, and then a couple bad plays at the end. I think you come out of this with your quarterback feeling as good as you could possibly feel about a quarterback who threw 2 interceptions the last couple of minutes of the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think this game was good for him just in his future, right? Learning when to slide, when to not take certain hits and things of that nature. So it was great to see because there's a couple times where he scrambled, he got down really quick, and I think for his future, he's a mobile quarterback, right? He's always going to be able to run and do that. So he's got to learn how to take some hits, how to not take hits, not take the big hits at all. So it'll be good for his longevity and the rest of his career.
He did, I think, I guess the word would be outstanding job on that as far as not getting himself cracked in ways that you didn't want to see. Minus Luke Getsy calling a quarterback sneak, which was insane to me. But
yeah, I didn't like that call either.
That was early in the game, and I guess he only did call one of them, but one too many. But that's fine. Fields survived it. We're moving forward. I mean, listen. I guess can we flip real quick to the other side of the ball?
Yeah. Oh man.
So.
Can we take a break and then get?
We can do that.
57. Is that what you want to talk about?
No, I want to ask Woot a very basic question on how many defensive linemen do you need to have an effective defensive line? Because we're not going to be able to get 4, and we're lucky to get 1. But do we need 2? And we need, because I don't think anybody out there. I think we can all agree in the chat and on the set and Lawrence's entire family. Nobody wants to watch the Bears rush the quarterback the way they're rushing the quarterback right now. It is.
It's awful.
It is children versus men.
I never want to knock like players that are out there, because they're giving effort and all this, but it's hard to watch because I feel like the secondary played pretty good.
Yeah.
And to be able to hold Rodgers to 182 yards when he had, I counted one time, he had 18 seconds. Back there, 18 seconds. I'm like, oh my goodness, like that is forever. And it was still an incomplete pass at that point. You're like, oh my goodness, like literally he's sitting back there, he's making a sandwich, he's drinking a coffee, like
they're giving up. They literally like, please throw the football. We're not going to get to you. Just throw it, and then let's go on to the next play.
And I feel bad for Alan Williams. Like we're putting a lot of blame on him, but there really isn't much there. Like. Taco Charlton, he just got signed here. He's probably our best pass rusher.
He's the only one who actually hit Rodgers. It didn't go down in the stat sheet because there was a bad holding call on Jalen Johnson that was not holding after I rewatched it this morning.
It was a huge play. They scored a touchdown on the next play, too.
Yeah.
But like, I really feel bad for the secondary. Like, imagine having to cover guys, and Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and he has 12 to 18 seconds. Like, that's not fair to the secondary. So Alan Williams, like, you have to dial up something. You can't leave him out to dry out there like you did on Sunday.
And they tried a couple times bringing Sanborn, and he did have one pressure where he ran around forever. I'm talking about Sanborn now, and pushed Rodgers out and forced an incomplete pass. But like, that's the best they could do is blitz their undrafted linebacker and hope to get pressure. It's crazy.
Yeah, anytime you have a defensive line that can't generate pressure in at least 5-6 seconds, like, you're like, push the pocket, anything. There's none of that at all. Yeah. Like, none of that.
All right, well, let's get into Sanborn here in a second, but first I want to tell you, and you've heard me tell you about it daily, Shady Rays, if you haven't jumped in and gotten them yet, you should now, because they never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, and they set out to change it. They've done it. You do not have to break the bank for quality sunglasses because they have premium polarized shades. I was wearing them again driving down this morning, featuring world-class optical clarity, durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. And the best part about Shady Rays is their lost and broken replacement program. If you lose or break them on day one, they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked, no matter what you do with them. Lose them, whatever. They don't care. They will send you a new pair. No questions asked. There's Lawrence rocking them if you're watching on YouTube right now.
Dang, you looking cool. Rock on.
Even if here's the thing, even with that strong of a protection program, you might think, well, the sunglasses must be cheap then. They're not. They have the quality, and Lawrence is holding them right now. He can tell you, and customers agree with over 200,000 5-star reviews that they are indeed durable, good sunglasses. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed. They've donated over 20 million meals to date. Right now, here's what you do. Exclusive for our listeners. Check out Shady Rays. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
Oh, there you go, buddy.
There we go.
I'm going to bring my Shady Rays in tomorrow, which are sweet.
You got cool.
They've got that look, and they've got the Lawrence look, and they've got this other cool look, too. I mean, look at Hoge. You just all of a sudden.
I know. You put him on Carm.
He went straight.
He's flooding, too.
Should I do the Carm?
Come on, baby.
It takes the flood away. You don't even see the flood at that point. By the way, as you know, as a tennis champion over here, 408 League.
What league?
408, Deer Creek. What's up?
The 60 and up league? Is that what you playing?
Yeah.
Hey, champion's champion. I don't care if you win the Mayo Bowl or the 408 tennis league.
Got bumped up a level. No big deal over here. Started the level 0-1. That's okay, Mayank. I'll get you next time, my friend. But how did I get there? I got there with Next Evo. My friends at Next Evo, if you want the best in smart sorb technology, getting your CBD into your system in as little as 10 minutes, unlike other CBD brands that you got to wait on. This is a regular CBD oil that it works more slowly because of how our bodies process the oil-based ingredients compared to the water-soluble supplements. Woot, this is the good stuff right here. And regular CBD only achieves a 2 and 10% absorption, so over 90% of what you think you're getting, that goes to waste. That's not the deal with Next Evo. Next Evo takes you to the next level. They got the pills and they've got the cream. You want to get smarter CBD from Next Evo Naturals. And you want to get up to 25% off of subscription orders of $40 or more at nextevo.com/podcast. Use that promo code BEARS. That is nextevo.com/podcast. Stress, trouble sleeping, looking for better absorption, fast acting, all that, you want to be doing the Next Evo thing. nextevo.com/podcast and use that promo code BEARS.
Bears.
I love my Next Evo, baby.
It works, man. Stuff's good.
It's good stuff, brother.
I like it.
So
cream.
You know who needs some Next Evo this morning? and probably a lot more treatment too.
Could be Sanborn.
Packers center.
Oh,
Josh Myers.
What happened
Because
to him?
of what Jack Sanborn repeatedly did to this
The
guy.
human torpedo.
So right before we started the show, Woot and I got in Studio B. We did a film breakdown of just some of the nasty stuff that Jack Sanborn did in the game yesterday. I knew he had a good game. I didn't realize how good of a game it was until went back and watched it last night, this morning. I ended up having 6 plays to go through with you where it's just like the physicality. He's going through offensive linemen, taking out multiple guys at a time, the instincts, the speed that he allegedly didn't have coming out of college. I mean, I know I've been on the Jack Sanborn train since they drafted him, but I never thought we'd be sitting here late in the season going, yeah, I think he's your Mike Backer next year without a doubt.
He 1,000% is. If he's not the Mike Backer, they're doing something wrong because everything he showed on a week-to-week basis, this is multiple weeks in a row. He's playing at a high level, right? And especially undrafted, rookie. He's the quarterback of the defense at this point, right? He's calling the plays out. He's playing fast, disciplined. He's the most disciplined defensive player we got right now, right? So he is doing everything. And physical, like old school type mentality. Hoge, people are going to see the breakdown later. We're going to release that. But there was a couple times, like you talked about, he literally launched himself into 2 offensive linemen, took them out, took Aaron Jones out, and then took out Dillon on one of the other plays. I'm destroying people. You talking about Josh Myers. He's looking for the trainers on the side like, come here, I'm hurt. Yeah, Jack Sanborn, baby. Like, we found our Mike of the future. Like, that's one concern we don't have to address in the offseason, 1,000%.
How about his instincts? The dude just has a great sense of what's going on and how he can make a play, and in the moment he figures it out. I'm going football savant, Sanborn. He's got a great feel for the game. Really,
there's always that one undrafted guy that stands out from the bunch, and honestly, I think he could be special player.
Yeah, I don't know that I remember one standing out this much though, this early. Like I know there's some examples where like Bryce Callahan, you kind of knew that was in the mix to play nickel, but you're like, yeah, he's in the mix. I mean, this dude's on the field
playing every snap,
and a menace out there with. But what did we talk about Roquan Smith earlier in the year? Oh, yeah, it's a new defense. They're not two-gapping anymore. Their D-line's not playing well enough, so he's getting more blockers in his face. Well, it doesn't seem to be bothering Sanborn.
He's playing fast.
He's getting around those guys. He's beating them to the spots.
Yeah, the one play that we broke down when he, completely two-gap Tanyan. Tanyan sees him coming, and he jacks him up and sheds him and then takes on the guard, like – that's big-time football. Like, you don't see that too many times in this NFL, right? It's all about speed and finesse a little bit, especially at the linebacker position. Like, he's old school, downhill, hit you in the mouth, and he can run too. So it's great to see.
He is playing, with confidence. I don't know how else you say it. He does not care who he's going up against. He's going to throw his body into you and win and be more physical. When he is hurting a giant center who's just looking at Josh Myers without looking up his height, weight, he looks like one of the bigger centers I've seen.
He looks like a tackle. Yeah,
and he's just repeatedly pounding that guy into the ground when they're trying to pull him onto the backer. It's really impressive.
Dude's got a chip on his shoulder the size of Montana. Undrafted, huh?
I mean, how about the size of Wisconsin?
Okay, fine. That's fine. The size of Madison,
of Lake Zurich,
of the pride of Eau Claire. Did I say that right? I don't know. I'm just naming cities in Wisconsin just to show you how much I appreciate the state.
He's from Lake Zurich.
I know that he's from Lake Zurich. I'm just saying you want all the Wisconsin love. Let's talk about the beauty of Lake Nebagamon up north. No, okay. Listen, I cannot express how much enjoyment I get out of watching that dude play football. He is a breath of fresh air on that defense that is in need of like 17 more breaths of fresh air.
My new favorite thing is you're like our internal PA announcer during the game. Every time Sanborn makes a play, you just hear Carm go, Sanborn.
God.
Sanborn. The whole game.
Dude, there's going to be a lot of Jack Sanborn jerseys going into next year for sure.
I got mine on the way. Hello?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I ordered it.
You have a Hester's?
Here
I
it
had to
comes.
give you that.
I seriously might have to get a 23 just to calm down the narrative out there. But I ordered it. It hasn't come yet, but I'm sure it'll pop up at some point here, unless somebody stole my Sanborn. I kind of do worry about it in my storage facility.
But yeah, his confidence is off the charts, and from a young guy, that's awesome to see. Especially like it's not like you're a rotational end where you have to play a little bit here and there. He's playing every snap. He's making all the calls, all the checks. He's seeing everything. He's reading, reacting. That's the most impressive part about that.
Well, and for Ryan Poles, it's huge. You've got 1,700 needs. You have this dude who's going to be paid nothing, and
you got him for 2 more years.
And you got him for 2 more years.
And by the way,
with an undrafted,
undrafted,
okay. And by the way, and then there's a restricted free agency after that too. So it helps you out to keep him even beyond that. I happened to catch Ryan Poles' interview on the pregame show on the radio yesterday, and with Joniak, and it's something the way he talked about Sanborn was like, you could tell because I think there's a lingering question out there, like how legit is this, right? Like, is this just a guy who's putting together like a 4-game? Now it's a 5-game sample. Yeah. Now it's a 5-game sample, and like you just like, is this really for real? Like it's at some point he's going to meet his match or something. And then he keeps stacking it, and the way Poles answered the question, the way he's just like, I'm really happy for him. Like it sounded like he views him as a long-term piece, as he should.
He should, 1,000%. But it's just great to see because I felt like he should have at least been drafted, 4th to 7th round somewhere. Like his college tape, he put up numbers. Like,
well, when we were getting late in the 6th, 7th round on draft day, I'm like,
pick him.
The Bears had like 18 7th-round picks or whatever it was. I was like, draft him. And then they didn't. And he somehow goes undrafted. I'm like, that guy should be one of the first phone calls that's made. And then sure enough, though, he was a priority free agent for them. He's one of the first calls they made. They gave him a little bit more than they give other guys, and he stayed right here in Chicago where he belongs.
Listen, we can just call it what it is. African-American guy, you might get downgraded at quarterback. White guy, safety, linebacker, you might get downgraded.
1,000%.
Right.
They questioned his speed, and I think he ran faster than Lance Briggs.
Yeah.
Right? So, it is a thing. It's a double standard in this league.
Of course it
hands
is.
down.
Of course
right?
it
is.
So
it's unfortunate that guy with all that talent didn't get drafted. But, he's going to make up for it, and he's going to get paid if he can continue with this eventually.
It's really tough for white guys out there. We've really had a tough run. The bias, but it's true on the NFL level that is an actual thing. Secondary and linebacker. So and he's good for you, buddy.
The sarcasm font that was
yes, of course, I was kidding. I missed that one. Then
we talked about the secondary. You never know these days.
Okay. That's true too. Yeah, I guess.
Come back from the bye week. Carm's gone.
Easy.
Whoa.
Easy team. I hope not. That's a legit possibility.
No, it's not.
Okay.
All right, you mentioned the secondary earlier, and I do think they deserve praise. I was very impressed. I was not expecting that. 4 out of 5 starters gone. Jalen Jones is out there, and it's like, who's going to be the nickel? Josh Blackwell's in there. Josh Blackwell had a very interesting game for me, because I was really impressed. I've been impressed with him already this year with what he's done on special teams. He was not with the Bears in camp. He's somebody they got off waivers. He came in early on in the season, got thrown into special teams. All of a sudden, he's making plays as a gunner. He's getting down there. He's making tackles on kickoff. Consistently.
Yeah.
Showing those instincts we're talking about with Sanborn, honestly. Like, the dude just plays. He's got really impressive speed. So now he gets thrown out there on defense at the slot corner that, quite frankly, like Kyler Gordon, your 2nd-round draft pick, he's had some highs and he's had a lot of lows. And it just something about it looked natural to me. Did you see the rub route they tried to run with Jalen Jones? And the communication and the way they just like sort of went through each other and stayed locked. Granted, he was running with Randall Cobb, he's probably considerably faster than these days. But he stayed with them like glue, and Rodgers still tried to throw it up, and it didn't matter. Like, it was just really good coverage. For two young guys, I was really impressed with that play.
Yeah, I think we might have a player in him for sure. So it's always good. And we talked about this. These last few weeks is all about evaluation, right, for the future. We're seeing what Jack Sanborn could do, with Blackwell, some of these guys. So it's great to see. And another guy on the defensive line, Andrew Brown, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Andrew Brown.
Yeah.
He flashed a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember I talked about that 3 technique penetrating in the run game? He was driving guards back on a couple plays, and it was great to see. Yeah. Justin Jones did it a few times as well. But, Andrew Brown, it was good to see somebody flash, right? Like
100%. I was like, who the hell's 94?
I was like, there's penetration?
Yeah.
What's that? We haven't seen much of that, so it was great to see.
The Blackwell thing is interesting, though, because, I don't know, Kendall Vildor's going to want to get healed up real quick here and get back out on the field, right? I mean, this is
Wally Pipp, right?
Here today, gone
But
tomorrow.
here's the thing. When you talk about, like, what I mean, you could make an argument. I don't think you have to because they found the guy. But you can make an argument that Sanborn should have been in there earlier this season.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're not going to know these things until you let them play. And so the Roquan Smith trade opened up the door for this guy, and you found an answer. So when I say that Blackwell had an interesting game for me yesterday, it wasn't a perfect game. It was far from disastrous, and it impressed me enough that I want to see more of it. So what I'm kind of getting at is, if I'm the Bears, I'm wondering if, when you evaluate things in the bye week, I would hope Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker can return after the bye. You get an extra week of rest now. They've already missed a couple games. Do you say, all right, as much as we thought we liked Kyler as our, future inside corner, which is an important position in this defense, do we say, let's concentrate on the outside for these last 4 games? Like, just play out there, focus on one position, and then give Josh Blackwell an opportunity to play more in the slot. Because if you don't give him that opportunity, how are you going to know?
No, I agree with you. That's what you have to, at this point. And like I talked about, evaluations. So you got to see if Gordon can play that as well, right? Then you have options. You have Blackwell as well. So going into the offseason, you have some answers for some positions on the back half. Because I think the back half is definitely the stronger unit as far as the defense goes. And then defensive line and offensive line, I think those are going to be the major things we address. And people are talking about, weapons for Justin Fields. We obviously have to do that. But if the offensive line and defensive line aren't strong, that's how you win games in this league, right? The teams that have really solid offensive and defensive lines, you look at what Dallas is doing, that's how you win championships.
So how many guys do you need up front to make the up front sing?
So we need 2 defensive ends, right? We need a left end that's a really good run stopper that'll give you 5 to 8 sacks, somewhere in that range. And then you need a right end that's an absolute stud that'll give you 10 double-digit sacks. And then you need a 3 technique, an absolute stud in there that's going to get off the football, penetrate, rush the passer, and move Justin Jones to the nose.
So you need 3
guys.
3.
We need 3 guys. And then eventually draft some guys in maybe 3rd, 4th round that are pass rushers.
You're gonna have to hit on a free agent. You're gonna have to hit on a top draft pick, and you're gonna have to hit on a late round guy. Realistically,
yeah, that's 1,000% what's gonna happen.
Which is why I don't necessarily, when you say Super Bowl by next year,
it's a process.
Your quarterback better be scoring 30 points a week, which he already has shown an ability to do. But
listen, I don't want to be completely out there guaranteeing that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl next year, because that would be a little too tall for me. But
not for you, but
yeah, or just the guy that says they're going to be the Bengals at 10-7 that got to the Super Bowl. What was going over there with Lawrence? I don't know what you're laughing at.
It's funny.
I just laughed at that comment. That's funny.
You seem more offended by his laugh than when I said it. Was really funny.
But what if Leatherwood can be an option though?
Yeah.
That would be really good, right? Braxton Jones, you get him stronger this offseason.
Well,
Leatherwood at right tackle.
So that's the interesting thing. To going back to what you're saying, like who and that you're teeing up, Hoge, who do they want to see in these final 4 games? What strategy as they sit down and we're going to hear from Flus today at 1:45, and then they're off for the week. What strategy are they coming out with for the final 4 weeks to maximize the opportunity of these games to set themselves up? I think the Blackwell thing makes sense. The Leatherwood thing definitely makes sense. And then you look at the wide receivers. Do you not know? Do you have enough information on Byron Pringle that you should be giving more reps to N'Keal Harry? I thought that Fields had an interesting comment yesterday. Absolutely throwing the ball up, that dude's coming down with it. That sounds like a quarterback who wants to see more from the guy.
Trust him.
Yeah. So, how are you strategizing these final 4 games, again, to set yourself up best for the offseason? Or maybe it doesn't matter. Like, talent's a talent, and these guys suck, and we need more people in here, and we already know everything that we need to know. That's probably not true.
Yeah, D-line is number one. I think.
But okay, on the D-line, what do you want to see?
The thing is, I don't know what's left to evaluate with the D-line this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, there's not that. No. There's not the Alex Leatherwood. There's not the.
I'm disappointed that Travis Gibson has kind of just disappeared.
I am too. I'm disappointed that Dominic Robinson, who had a great debut to the season, has sort of just
fizzled out.
Now, does he just need he obviously needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
He needs to get stronger, and he's got a ways to go here, but at least he's been like around the football a couple times lately.
He played better in the run yesterday, but pass rush, was non-existent. Right. But it's just I'm hoping the last couple weeks they give Alex Leatherwood an audition and say, hey, because if he plays well, you know that you got 2 good options at tackles that are potentially going to be here for years to come. Braxton Jones, I think he could be the left tackle of the future. I just said he's got to get stronger.
Yeah,
reminds me of David Bakhtiari in his first year, right? Had very good feet, struggled against power. So Braxton Jones, he's been getting better, especially against the power rushes. They tried to give him a lot of power yesterday. He held up better against it. So it's a learning experience, and if we could have a left tackle that they feel confident in and Leatherwood becomes an option, that alleviates the concerns. Then we can address the defensive line a lot more.
And congrats to the Bears O-line. Didn't allow a sack yesterday. I mean, it's
pretty good.
I mean, and Fields was creative at times, but it was not like he was running for his life back there.
No, and even like the play that Flus called his most impressive play of the game was when he snuck up in the pocket, looked like he could have run, and instead, and I'm looking at the film like, I can't wait to see the end zone angle of this, because I was like, how did he even see Cole Kmet over there? All of a sudden, he just like threw his pop pass to the left, and he's wide open. I'm like, that's either just good instincts and knowing where your guys are, or keeping your eyes downfield, which is something he has improved on as the season has gone along. When he's scrambling, he is keeping his eyes downfield more. And I just liked on that particular play, the offensive line kept all the rushers outside, which gave him the lane to step up in. And he took it, and then he still realized, I got this guy over here. And just the instincts to throw it, that was a really impressive play.
That was impressive, the one to St. Brown. When he that for me was a big-time play, because he knew he was going to get blasted by Dean Lowry on that play. Like, you know it. And early on in the season when he's about to take a hit, he kind of short-arm throws. He knows he's going to get blasted. He steps into it, completes the ball, and he doesn't short-arm anything. So that was a big-time growth play and he puts it right on the money to St. Brown.
And he got blasted. He got hit right in the chin there.
Ooh, yeah.
Could argue it should have been a penalty.
Did a Bears quarterback in your time wearing the uniform ever throw a bomb straight on the money, like that play was? I'm serious. I can't.
I think Jay Cutler had a few to Brandon Marshall. Come on.
You are disrespectful to Cutler.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But Cutler, I don't remember.
Cutler made bad decisions, but he could still throw ropes.
Cuddy would throw a great ball in great corner route, whatever.
Right.
But like a sheer bomb.
He threw something to Brandon Marshall on the money. 100%. I think like this.
Go back and watch.
Jay Cutler had all the tools, and I've always said this. I think like as a quarterback, he's not the status quo quarterback that is the leader that when the game's on the line, he's like, let's go, guys. Let's rally the troops. But he had all the talent. So, yeah, I think his –
making splash plays was not Cutler's downfall.
Yeah. No, he would thread the needle. And
it was decision-making at times.
Right. He'd rely on his arm, and he'd throw a bullet in between two dudes and touchdown Brandon or touchdown Alshon. But I'm talking about a bomb on a rope that was 50-plus yards.
Dave Mann in the chat says that Cuddy had a great deep pass to Johnny Knox against Dallas.
Is that the one?
This is literally the first play I Googled.
And that wasn't – he had to wait for it. He waited for that.
He did wait for it a little bit. No, but he threw some.
There's a whole highlight reel. I know these people.
Okay,
look at that.
Your first one he waited for.
Right at the 50.
That's not it either. That's not it either.
Oh!
That's not it either.
But yeah, Cutler. So did his attitude influence how you felt about it?
Of course.
So right, you want the quarterback that's.
Of course, I like Justin Fields as a human being, as
a leader, right?
Yes, as in everything. Like, there's so much more to enjoy about Fields, both on and off the field. Like,
there's one of Johnny Knox against the Cowboys.
Yeah, so somebody was saying.
Yeah, that was for sure on the. You're just mad. Cutler was at the game yesterday.
I'm just
his kids are big Fields fans. They got his autograph.
Okay, all I did was ask Woot a question.
I think Fields.
I just asked Woot a question.
I think you should give Cutler some credit for how Fields played yesterday. Just the presence of Cuddy in the building.
Oh, that was what it was. Yeah, I forgot. I had forgotten until this moment that Cuddy was there. Until now.
Messing with you. All right, we were at a tailgate yesterday too. In the morning, it was pretty damn cold out. I was impressed that the people that were there. I've never played bags or cornhole with gloves on, but Braggs was still doing it. Bunch of people at the tailgate, they were still playing, and I'm glad they were, because we have these awesome Chi-Town custom cornhole boards. They're the #1 cornhole provider for Chicagoland and Illinois since 2007. Their signature box-style design can be digitally printed, covered in vinyl, and painted. The boards come with built-in drink holders that are recessed on the back and LEDs that light up the hole and the exterior, handles for easy carrying, and handcrafted scorekeepers. It's a veteran-owned and operated company. They ship anywhere. They offer local pickups if you're in this area, specializing in corporate designs for your company's next marketing or social event, wedding gifts, gifts for all occasions, and especially those tailgates like the one we had yesterday and backyard barbecues. Check it out at their website, ChiTownCornhole.com. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at ChiTown Custom Cornhole Boards.
Hey, Los Four Amigos, I'm watching you. Remember, Cuddy's record as a Bear is called straight 500, which is not, as you put in there, awesome. That would be average.
It's kind of awesome for this team.
Right? Well, time you go 500.
All right. Well, if you were making a bet with Cuddy on DraftKings Sportsbook, you would not know if you were going to win or lose, because it was either going to be a win and or a loss, because he was a 500 guy and you never knew who was going to show up. Sometimes he'd be great, sometimes he wouldn't. But you still should download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use the promo code CHGO. You put a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game. You get $150 in free bets if they do. That is the deal right now, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with that code CHGO. And don't forget that they've got some great same-game parlays going on. Parlay, Jason Parlay, Highland Park High School. Same-game parlays, yes. Combine multiple bets, like which team will win, throw in a player prop, throw in a point total, make it even more fun. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. Take home the big bucks. Do it at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download that app now and live the dream.
All right, before we get to the updated draft order, I'm told we have a super chat that we must get to.
Well, I just thought we should address vibing with the dogs, because it is something that Braggs has been helping, or I don't know. They've been going back and forth in the chat about it. So basically, Vibin says, if Fields is frustrated, should we trade him now and take a QB with the second pick? What would a trade package look for Fields? And then kind of Braggs and this person went back and forth, and I think Vibin is basically saying that we were looking for clicks with our title of Fields being frustrated. The frustration is boiling over.
I will own the Fields being frustrated title, and after rewatching his video, his press conference, I actually would question myself that I'm not even. I think his frustration is just Fields is just honest about what he would like to have seen happen yesterday. The guy's actually I don't know. We did put a question mark on it. I don't think he actually is. I think he is frustrated, but I don't think he's
nowhere close to win. He's especially against the Packers.
Yeah, he ain't defeated.
No,
none of that's going on.
Nobody's trading Justin Fields.
And no one's trading
he is our
Justin
quarterback
Fields
in the future.
ever.
So.
I mean, you can make a decision that wasn't the best decision and still also be frustrated that your wide receiver didn't help you out, because it probably still shouldn't have been an interception.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? So I don't think the frustration thing is completely invalid, but
he's definitely frustrated.
Yeah, he's frustrated. But on this particular topic, and it definitely wasn't clickbait, man. It's just It's just a title on a thing.
People get mad about the titles and stuff.
Corey Wooten's here. People are coming. We don't need clickbait. Corey Wooten's here. They're coming to hang out with Corey anyway. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I definitely don't have a problem with anything he said yesterday, except for the thing he said about Montgomery. Only because I don't agree with it. I just Tevin Jenkins got blown up on that play. That was the problem with that 3rd and 5.
A couple times by Kenny Clark. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I think his back still might be a little jacked up.
Well, and he has been honest that the bull rushes are the things.
Yeah, and Kenny Clark is probably arguably one of the most powerful D tackles in the game right now. Playing with like one elbow, still's got the power. So, yeah, those back injuries with offensive linemen are tough, man, because you got so much weight on there.
He's got the hip too.
All I'm saying is my ears perked up.
It was an interesting comment,
yeah,
right? But I, as somebody who has sat in those rooms after games for years and just wanted for honest evaluations of a key play in the game and has been repeatedly told, I got to watch the film. I got to watch the film. I got to watch the film. And then they come back Monday, and sometimes they'll give you an answer. Most times they still don't. I appreciate him.
I get
He's
it.
not throwing anybody on the bus. He's just explaining what happened.
I get it.
I think he'll change from that. I think probably they're going to talk to him and say, hey, listen, in that situation, you just got to take the blame for it, and just keep it moving at that point, right? It's all a growing experience, right? This is his first year really being a true starter, like having the keys to everything.
They don't need to be coaching him on how to handle press conferences. He's good. Justin Fields is a smart guy. He's been there, done that, and been, when you're the quarterback at Ohio State and you're playing in national championship games, you're not. This is not your first rodeo.
Exactly.
Hopefully we can get.
Yeah, Gene Smith has prepared him well. I'm sure
this is a frustration because the talent on this team as a whole, especially defensively, is tough because Justin Fields and the offense have played good enough in a bunch of games to win it, especially Miami, right? That's a game where arguably the best offense, you're going toe-to-toe with them about how they started the season, and you got the game on lock, and special teams touchdown really ended that, and the defense is not playing well. So it's just a combination of frustration. He's won his whole career, high school, college at Ohio State. I think he had, one loss in college?
Yeah, it's
so he's not used to losing.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a regular season loss in college, or one regular season, whatever it is. It's crazy. But that's where I do think the offense needs to take a little bit more blame for yesterday. They scored 3 points in the second half. I don't put this game in the category of they did enough to win.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do enough to win yesterday offensively, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting if you break it out. Who has played well enough to win this year? The quarterback has played well enough to win. Yeah. The running backs have played well enough to win. The secondary, for the most part, has played well enough to win.
Agree.
Where they haven't played well enough to win is up front on defense. And I would say the offensive line on offense has played well enough to win. So
in half, from a run perspective, yes, not pass protection.
True, but it's gotten better.
I do agree that it's gotten better.
It is definitely gotten better.
Those guys, and I've had some of these discussions with them. I actually have a thing coming out this week. I think people will like in the newsletter on the offensive line. But
so I mean, if that makes me like slightly optimistic. If you can, with all your might, address the defensive line.
Yep,
I think that's going to be a majority of our attention.
Then maybe you can make a huge leap next year.
A few minutes left here on the show. Let's go through the updated draft order, which is important with the results coming in this weekend. And the Bears, of course, with their loss.
Check out Pulse. Look at that. He was rocking that jacket yesterday, the Sunnies.
It is a nice.
Are those Shady Rays? Hope they're Shady Rays.
Shady Rays, maybe?
I like that. I like that number 2.
So Bears at number 2 with their loss. Again, they don't have the tiebreaker over it's actually Denver or the Rams picks that will go to Seattle and Detroit. So it's really the Broncos and the Rams that you need to be looking at in the standings. They do not have the tiebreaker over those two teams, but those two teams play each other coming up. So one of them will lose, which means the Bears, if they lose out, are still guaranteed a top 3 draft pick. The worst they would be number 3 if they do not win again, which is a very realistic possibility considering the schedule coming up. Eagles, Bills, Lions are playing a lot better. You got to go on the road for it. The tricky one could be in Week 18 against a Vikings team that may be able to rest their starters depending on what's going on there. So what happens if they win a game? Also interesting, and some of these teams are going to win again, obviously, that we're looking at. But the teams with 4 wins, Indianapolis, of course, has that tie which pumps them down a little bit. So you're really looking at Arizona to that 8 spot. Well, Carolina and New Orleans play each other. So one of those teams is also going to win a game before it's all said and done.
Unless they tie.
Still, though, that would help. So if the Bears were to win one more game, they are still guaranteed a top 7 pick.
Right.
So win one game, they're still in the top 7. If they lose out, they're definitely in the top 3. I can't see a scenario in which they win 2 games.
No. I think 1 maybe against the Lions. That's the only one I could see potentially. But
you don't have
the Lions who scored in every possession yesterday.
Come off in a bye, going at the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. You know, come on, man.
But see, that's the stuff that happens in the NFL.
It does. They're like, oh yeah, this is the Bears, and then all of a sudden, Justin Fields scrambles for 200-something yards, throws for 250, and no. I don't
Jacksonville win a game in the last week of the season a couple years ago that screwed them?
Let's not forget, we've been in basically every single game all year long.
That's why they say any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
Right? Jamie Foxx at quarterback, LL Cool J at running back. You just never know on any given Sunday.
Did you pick them yesterday? Your pick. Didn't you have the Bears?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too. Idiots.
It was looking good.
One
for a second.
One thing I want to talk to you guys is about Luke Getsy's play calling inside the 30.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like right before we get in the red zone. Like he gets very tight with his play calling. It's very open and, you know, things are flowing. And then all of a sudden we get in there, he gets a little tight. He's like, okay, let's do a toss sweep. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then we'll do a pitch play. Like, why? Justin Fields just completed 3 passes. We're going. Why not a downhill run? And then all of a sudden he gets tight in those situations. So he's got these last 4 weeks, he really has to work on his play calling in the red zone. Because I feel like that's the reason why we haven't been able to close out these games.
Wow.
That is 100% the reason.
We'll have to pull that clip right there.
Yeah.
That's a big...
I agree. They need to be a little bit more aggressive in those situations.
Offensively. Because think about how many field goals have we had in situations, right?
Too damn many.
And just look at the matchup. How many times has Aaron Rodgers come back on the Bears?
You knew it was
when it was 19-10, I'm like, yeah, we know how this ends. We know exactly how this is going to end. And I couldn't believe that they were actually plus 275 on the money line in Vegas.
Good job.
At that moment. Because it was like,
I love live betting.
This always ends with the Packers winning. You have to put your foot on the gas.
And he got really conservative.
Yes,
like in the third quarter, like when we were 19-10, he just got, okay, let's run the ball here. Oh, third down or whatever. Let's do a run. You're like, what is going on right here? It's all of a sudden like you start getting tight. We're not playing for anything at this point. We're just trying to evaluate and get our quarterback better, get the offense better.
He apparently has a lot of confidence in that offensive line calling run plays, which is a little crazy. But from my standpoint, you want to give your quarterback as many opportunities to make as many plays as possible and let him grow.
Yeah.
Quit thinking about winning the game. You know, like you probably are going to win it by letting Fields
play calling
loose.
better in those situations.
But don't worry, like you're trying to like squeeze out a victory running the ball, dude. Just let him.
But
let
don't
him throw.
you think once we get inside like that red zone area, like things get tight play calling wise, and then it's very uncharacteristic of what he's doing. Once we get up at that point, right?
Yeah.
Things are flowing and matching, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, toss. Let's run here. Third down and 6. Let's run the. You're like, what? And
they also got away from, like early in the game they had no problem running Fields, and then I think he only had 2 runs in the whole second half. So
are you trying to make this press conference there?
I am. So quickly, let's go through our super chats.
Okay.
Because I am going to try to get up to Hal's Hall.
We need you on that wall.
I'll let you read this. This is by the way, Vibin is Elise. She is who Vibin is.
I'm going to be completely honest with you on this question. I have not sat down and watched the centers.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the center position, that's not my chief concern. Like I think we got Lucas Patrick next year. See what he can do. And I think the center isn't that important when we're talking about the offensive line. Lucas Patrick, I think he can fill that need if he's healthy, but I think it's more about the tackle position that we have to address more so than anything.
All right, let's. What else we got? Marky Mark, Leatherwood, or Borum to finish the rest of the year. Yeah, I think it's Leatherwood time. I think it's time to see what Leatherwood could do. They worked him in a rotation. Now he's got another week off because obviously he's been dealing with that mono, and we heard yesterday like more of the details on that and how much, that's really set him back.
Leatherwood time.
Give him the keys, right? We got to evaluate. He's a former first-round pick for a reason.
His name is Leatherwood. Never mind.
Okay.
Leatherwood time.
Chainsaw Massacre.
You like that? All right. Evan, we need to reinforce the trenches in free agency and address edge and receiver in the draft. So much talent on the front lines. Our free agents in 2023. Yep. Got to do it all. Kevin, jumping in here, can we talk free agency? What talent is even available to surround Fields with? No alpha wide receivers available in free agency.
I'll give you some, Kevin. Let me get in front of me because I've been writing them down.
Do we turn to Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs instead?
No.
Kevin, I'll tell you what. We're going to hold that for tomorrow. We'll come back. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Instead of giving a 5-second answer, we'll address it tomorrow in depth.
No, let's have Carm look it up right now and figure it out.
And also
stop.
in the first 3 months of the offseason.
We definitely have times. But
we're good at running back.
Think Darren Payne. Think Javon Hargrave. Think about those. Think defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Hargrave would be.
Hargrave.
Oh, I like him a lot.
Come on.
Imagine a 3 technique that gets upfield and pass rushes.
That'd be nice.
Ooh, that'd be good.
He's 30, but
all right.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Apparently, Greg Braggs gets last word.
Why did we play Darrington Evans? Rise and shine. I like his burst. He had a 21-yard run. Should use him more. David Montgomery sucks.
Nobody disrespects David Montgomery more than Greg Braggs.
He's a Swiss Army knife, right? He can do it all. Catch it out of the backfield, block, run.
I love Montgomery.
He is. But he just doesn't have that burst like Evans or Khalil
He picks
Herbert.
up important yards.
He fits thunder and lightning. That's all we need, right?
Get out of here.
What kind of green juice you got in there?
This is Braggs' water bottle.
It's brick juice.
This is what
from 2 weeks ago.
This is what I go to work with.
There's a bunch of particles floating in here, which means I think Braggs has an issue with the backwash, perhaps.
Jeez, Braggs.
I think it's probably because it's been sitting there for a week.
This is what's growing, and honestly, it's putting us in danger at CHGO. So
at any point, if anyone wants to just throw that entirely away, I'm fine with that.
That is disgusting, Braggs.
Yeah, it looks like. Let's be honest, that's like a combination of Gatorade and urine with floating particles.
High C ecto cooler.
And the fact that he wore gloves when you played bags, a cornhole, Braggs, I thought you were a tough guy. I thought you were a Tommy tough guy, like we have in New Jersey, where I'm from. You're not a real tough guy there. I tell you that, there, Braggs.
And let me tell you something. We've got some really bad ping pong players in this company. But I haven't seen anybody as bad as Greg Braggs. This guy is just a straight embarrassment on the right.
Wow.
All right.
Yo, I thought he was the alpha male. Gosh.
You know what? He was the only one of us.
I'm actually, as a ping pong good player that I am, I'm actually going to give Braggs credit. I don't think ping pong is alpha male. I think
it is.
That's me.
Pickleball, ping pong.
I'll give him credit.
It goes hand in hand with pumping iron.
By the way,
right?
when we got on an 8:30 Zoom call this morning, he was the only one out there in the freezing cold laying brick. I didn't see you out there in the cold.
I was out the door.
You were half asleep over in that chair.
And with a ski hat on inside.
Oh, look at Braggs. All right, in the show, because you guys are talking about me.
All right, we actually should do that. I got to get to house.
Hey,
all right.
we love you, Greg Braggs. You know this.
We do.
And we will polish
Brick
this.
by
And
brick,
we might even
juice.
wash it.
The real tough guy.
You
are
I
a real tough
regret
guy.
the super chat. All right. We love you, buddy. Make sure you sign up to be a diehard at allchgo.com. Level up your fandom. Get your 20% off all the merch, events. We got the Bulls Takeover coming up in a couple weeks. Make sure you check that out. Should be a great event. More Bears tailgates coming up, too. Again, you get a discount on all of those events if you are a CHGO diehard. Go check it out, allchgo.com/diehard. Diehards also get my Bears newsletter on Wednesday mornings. That'll be coming up as we go into the bye week. We'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday. Do we have a special guest tomorrow or not? We might.
We are working on a special guest.
But you should tune in anyway, regardless.
Yeah,
we'll have my grades. We'll break it all down for you.
Yeah.
Back at it tomorrow at noon.